So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Winston Sutherland, and this afternoon, as usual, we are continuing. This is the first interview of the year 2025 on the JDF World Connection with a K. I'm really pleased this afternoon to introduce our guest, who is none other than former Sergeant Dawn Dalhouse. Some of you will know quite a bit about her. I know a little bit, but just a little tiny bit, because she joined the JDF the year I left, which was almost 30 years ago. So that is giving away my age. As you can see, I look exactly the same, except that I have white hair now. So without further ado, before I talk any more nonsense, I'm going to ask Sergeant Dawn Dalhouse to tell us about herself. So Dawn, over to you. Introduce yourself to our guests.
Thank you so much, Major Sutherland. Good evening to each and every one, members of the World Connection. It is a privilege for me this afternoon to be on this platform to hear the story of none other than yours truly, Dawn Dalhouse. All right, I was born in Linstead, St. Catherine, specifically the Linstead Hospital, to William and Lynette Dalhouse. William is now deceased, and I am the last of 8 girls and 5 boys. I was born in Linstead, as I said before, and I grew up in a little district called Mountain Pass. That's in Linstead, out of Linstead, approximately 16 miles out of Linstead. So it's Mountain Pass, Linstead, St. Catherine. Person may know it as Treadways, but it's close to Treadways, York Street, in that vicinity.
Right.
As a child growing up, my mother and father, they didn't have much, but the setting was just humble. And I give God thanks for who my mother is and my father, even though my father was very strict. But then I thought he was doing harm to us. But when I grow up and I realize what life is all about, I give God thanks for my father. And knowing to the fact that I am the smallest or the youngest of 8 and 5, I watched everybody in terms of going on trips and going on market and all these places. And I, as the smallest baby, my father always say that everybody cannot go, leave your mother. Somebody must be there to tell the tears. So
Yes.
I would watch my sisters and brothers going on trips and all these places, and I had to sitting down on the veranda in my slippers with my mother and my father as a wash belly. But I said before that my father was very strict, and my mother was just a humble woman of God. My father wasn't a Christian, but my mother was, and so I consider her as the best mother that ever God placed on this earth. My father was a farmer. My mother was a dressmaker. And, we were afraid of him too. But, my mother would always say to him, leave the children alone and calm yourself down. But to God be the glory. I thank God for my mother, And you said I could go on, Major, in terms of introducing my school and all of that.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
you go right ahead. I'm listening.
All right. Growing up at a tender age with my brothers and sisters, we were all close knitted, and we have a bond. There was a bond between us, and we still have that bond where as sisters and brothers, I consider us as family where we are so close. And even to this point, in the family, you don't know who is sister, who is brother, who is in-laws, because everybody are so close. And as a tender age, I remember, as I said, my mother, we didn't have much, but the Lord provide. And so we go to the bushes, we pick chocolate, we pick um chocolate, what the next one name? Coffee and all sort of things, peas, corn, and all these things. Because as I said, my father was a farmer. And when we go to the bushes and we do all that, then my mother would get it to sell. And my mother used to sell at the market. Then they used to call that market the back to market. Still don't know where back to market is, but my mother would go to the market and sell those stuff. And she came back and, she was the one who always keep the wheel turning when my father is in the field turning that wheel as well. And so we were a set of people in the district that people look up to. We were a set of family that people look up to. People look up to us for everything. The respect was there. Um the feeding of persons in and around the district, it was there coming from the house. And so because of that, they give big respect to my mother. My mother was like the mother for the community, even to this
Wow.
day,
Right.
and I God thanks for her as well. And not only that, Major, but sometimes I had to stop from school to go to the bushes. And
Mm.
when I get my lunch money, I would save my lunch money to pay the little youngsters in the area to go to bush for me, because I don't want to go to the bush because I want to go to school.
All
And
right.
so, I did that for a number of years. And I prayed the day would come that I would have to stop, go to the bushes. And so, I thank God that it has came and passed, and so I went to this little school in the district called Mountain Pass Basic School. That was the only school in
Right.
the district. And then I went to York Street Primary. And after leaving York Street Primary, I went on to McGrath Comprehensive High School. And being at McGrath, I participated in a lot of activities, track and field, netball, and stuff like that. And leaving McGrath, I went to Dintil. I went to live with my grandfather. And then I went to Dintil, where I um, participated in track and field and netball and all the sporting activities. And I was like a champion girl for Dintil Technical High School for 3 years.
Oh,
And
that means you went to
I,
champs and stuff like that.
I went to champs, but Dintil wasn't selected, in the top tier for champs where the females were concerned, only the males. And
Right.
so I had to sit out for a period of time. But um, we went and we support, and
Right.
I didn't get to finish school at the time.
Mm.
I graduated from McGrath, and then when I went to Dintil, you know, um, but unfortunate situation um, took place while I was in school, where
Mhm.
I got pregnant. You
Right.
know, um, I didn't stop there. I continued my education, and after leaving Dintil, I had my baby and went to join the JDF.
And how old is your baby now? That must be a big lady now.
Well, she's 30. This year she'll be 33 years old.
Wow. Fantastic. And so when you joined the JDF, she was a little toddler and you had to
Uh, she,
leave her and go off.
well, yeah, she was actually 1 year and
Okay.
close to 2 years old
Mhm.
uh, when I joined the JDF with her. And she was another there was another situation when I joined the JDF with her after completing approximately 5+ months training. They wanted to send me home. They wanted to send
Why?
me. I was told that I stated falsely on the attestation paper. And so I was told that I was going home because I stated falsely on the attestation paper. So
Right.
while in Newcastle, I struggle with that on my mind and stuff like that, because deep down inside of me, as a little girl coming from the country, first soldier in a little district,
Mhm.
you left the district and you end up being in Newcastle and third soldier. Now you have to go back in the district and looking, it would not be something that anyone would want for his or her child. And basically, I stood my ground because based on what I understood from the attestation paper, I remember distinctly when I read the attestation paper while serving whilst in Newcastle. What was on the attestation paper, Major, was there were two questions that stood out to me. Two particular. One was about a boy service, and so it mentioned about boy service. I was saying I'm a girl, but anyway, I understood what they meant. And so the other one that stood out was how many children are depending on you, and I put none.
Right.
At the time, my daughter wasn't depending on me because I wasn't working, so it was my mother who was taking care of my daughter.
Sound fair? Yes.
Mark you, the attestation paper did not ask me how many children you have given birth to. It
Right.
asked many are depending on you. And being as I know the child was depending on me, I stated none.
Right. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I was told that I stated falsely. And it was rest there. It was rested there until when I passed out from Newcastle.
Right.
It start all over again.
Right.
When I went to Kingston, few weeks after I passed out, few weeks, and I returned to return after bush training, and I
Yes.
returned into upper camp. I was told that I was for CO's orders, and went on CO. Prior to going on CO's orders, I was wondering what it was for because I thought that was finished. And to and fro from CO's orders. I was told that they're sending me home because I stated falsely again. But you know what? Long and short of it is that I went to see Tom Tavares Finson and Antoinette Horton, and I with them, but Antoinette Horton told us that she came in camp after back and forth with CO's orders and interview and stuff like that. And she said that it's discrimination where females are concerned because a male can join the army with more than one child or children, but a female cannot. And so when I went inside the CO's office and the CO asked me, how many children are depending on you? I said, sir, being as I know the child is not depending on me, I stated none. He said, why didn't you put one on the paper? And I said, sir, I answered the question to how I understood it. The attestation paper did not ask me how many children I've given birth to. It asked me how many children are depending on you. Right. And I said to him, sir, those attestation papers are the same attestation papers from 19 way back when. And those attestation papers, the JDF started to take on female, I think it was 1976 or 1977, thereabout.
76.
76. And those attestation papers have not yet been changed. Old attestation paper. And so I answered the question too, I understood it. But he sent me out of the office and I was like back and forth into the office. And he said, all right, would you like to be tried by um, the the CO or court martial? I said
Court
court
martial.
martial.
Right.
And he okay, he sent me out and called me back again and two and two. And called me back and said, why didn't you put one on the paper? I said, sir, I still stood my ground. The paper did not ask me how many children are depending on me.
Right.
And as I know the child is not depending on me, I stated none, sir.
Right.
That the long and short of it, Major, is that the case was dismissed.
Oh, it didn't
They
go to court martial.
No, I didn't go to court martial. The case
Right.
was
So why
dismissed.
did they dismiss it then?
They said they have no case against me because of the attestation paper. They would have to revisit it.
Right. Okay.
Um,
Right. So I would imagine it went to the DPP and they advised
I
them not to.
don't know
Maybe,
what happened, but I
but it
know
was dropped.
right, but I know when this set of female, the JNC female coming in and the rallies, that the magnitude of female coming in,
Yes.
I
Which,
was called and they asked me what was the end result of the case and what do I think about female joining. And I told them that it's discrimination where females are concerned and things and time change. And that was just it.
so let me back up a bit. How did they actually find out or know that you had a child? What caused them to start that investigation?
All right. One of my instructors, I was told, she told me that a cousin of mine asked him for me, and he told him that I am okay in Newcastle. And he said, I wonder how she's managing with her baby.
Imagine that.
She
Right.
has a baby, and that's where it all started.
Simple little comment like that. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
And the instructor came up and said to me, I didn't know that you was a baby mother.
All
And
right. The whole thing just ballooned from there. All right. So I'm going to come back to the JDF in a little while, but I want to go back to your life in what is it? Not Treadways, it's Mountain Pass.
in pass.
What was it like in Mountain Pass? So you go to school, you go to the basic school. Was it a situation where and you told me about going to the farm and all that type of stuff, and you pay people to go to the farm for you. But I mean, did you go to church on Sundays along with your mother, or what was that? What was it like at home on
All
Sundays
right.
and weekends?
We were brought up in a Christian home. As I
Mhm.
said, my mother, she's still a Christian. My father
Right.
wasn't a Christian. I have my brothers and sisters. We were brought up in a family home, and there's a church in the district where the district is like a family city because the Facey breed. Everybody related to the Facey breed in the district, and the Facey
Right.
breed is the biggest family in the district. So, everybody, one church, if you know everybody. So it's like, you
Right.
know, being as a young little girl, as a Christian in the not as a Christian, but going to church with my mother.
Right.
Uh, Not that church, but we would visit that church after my mother got baptized into a different church. So we visit her. We would go to church with her. We couldn't stay home, none at all on a Sunday. You can't even wash on Sunday. Everything has to be sorted by Saturday midday.
Right.
You press your clothes. In fact, you wash, you press by Saturday evening. Sunday is straight church. Morning, church. Midday, you're coming from church, or you're going back to church Sunday night. And it's not
Right.
far. And it's not near, it's far, according to what they would say. Far, far.
Wow. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then on Monday, you're back in school.
Monday, back in school sometimes, because Monday it would be bush. But to catch the chocolate truck on Tuesday,
Right.
or Wednesday for Thursday.
So the
It
truck
was
would come by to pick up all the chocolate that your
chocolate
father had
and coffee.
reaped. So
Yes,
when
sir.
you're at school now, you said you are what, the last of 13. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
right? So
Yes, sir.
did you sort of have to call my brother for me at any time? There's a poem which call me brother for me. I don't know if you know it, but when other children pick on you, Did you have to call your brother or your sister to fight for you?
No, I have somebody who always fight for me, sir. No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have to call in the brother. None at all. I
Who?
have a niece. I have a niece. My niece is still alive, and she's older than I am by 2 months.
Uh,
Um, we were actually in the same class,
yes.
but people didn't know that we were related.
Right.
So anybody trouble me because I was like just this simple little person,
Yes. Yes.
simple, simple, right?
Right.
And she's a fighter, but
Right.
she would have to get a corner to back her up to fight. And so anywhere the fight is going or taking place where I am concerned, she find herself in a little corner, because that the corner is her backup.
All right. That's interesting.
Yes, man, the corner is a little backup. So anybody trouble me, you know, she would. I don't fight. I
Uh-huh.
don't argue. I don't give trouble, to be honest.
Right.
And so one day, I don't remember what took place, but the two of us end up start to fight.
You start a fight.
Two of us start to fight. The two of us, my niece and
Oh,
I started to fight.
is that so?
Right. And then there was this girl came in, start to fight me now. And my niece and I turn and beat her.
Oh, yes. That is what would happen. Yes. My mother told me stories like that about people who interfere in family business. Yes.
So when I reach
Okay.
home, my mother heard about it. My mother just get it to our head together and just a clunk, clunk, clunk. And look,
That's the end of that.
and
Yes.
stop it.
Stop it. Yes. 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 All right. So what were your teachers like? Any favorite teacher or anything like that?
Oh yes. I have two favorite teachers when I was going to school. One is I remember Miss Garrell. Miss Garrell was the only teacher at the time from my district. When a teacher teaching you and she's from your district, you feel nice at school because yeah,
Yeah.
she come from my district. Miss Garrell, was she was brought up good, you know,
Uh-huh.
and not only that, but I used to call her Auntie Tora, but when I'm in class, I don't call her Auntie
Follow
Tora.
that. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Right.
And then Mrs. Willis Anderson. Mrs. Willis Anderson used to be my netball teacher. I was like her little pet. I used
All
to
right.
carry her along for her. She sent me to the canteen to get her stuff, and I know when she sent me out, I'm getting something.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay.
And
Mhm.
I made them proud.
Fabulous. Fabulous. So what was your favorite subject in school before you went on to
All
um
right, my favorite subject was English
right.
and social study, English social study, and I sort of feel little accountish, but
Right, the numbers. Okay, fabulous. All right. So okay, so that sounds like your early life. So did you like have any fights with your brothers at home when you said you don't fight, but there's
they used to
quite a few
beat
of you in the family, lots of children around the house. No fighting around the house?
no fighting at all. I
All right.
mean,
Mommy keeps everything in control.
recall. I cannot recall. I know they used to beat me.
Uh-huh.
I used to be the bally type, and if the ball, if they look at me too hard, I start to cry because I'm mommy's pet and daddy's pet. So when my mother eat, my mother would give me some eat and left. When my father eat, they give me eat and left, and then used to beat me up and take it. Not really beat me up, but take it up. They took it from me.
Fabulous, fabulous. Wow. All right. So that is your early life and gives us a sense of who you are in your early life growing up in Mountain Pass in St. Catherine. So let me go to the second part now, which is to talk about. You've told us a little bit about something that happened in the JDF, but why did you want to join the JDF? And tell us about your journey from Mountain Pass to the JDF.
All right. How I came to join the JDF. When I was going to McGrath, I did job experience at Upper Camp at
Okay.
QAS,
Mhm.
SSB QM store, and so
Okay.
doing like some data entry, and from there It was myself along with I think it was Jennifer Mackenzie, who is now a major. Jennifer and I were in the same class at school, and two other persons, Florence and Owen. All four of us, we went to JDF to do job experience, and having done that, you know, really urged to join. Jennifer told me that she was going to join the JDF, and I said okay, and I get the urge to join, but my downfall was with a child. So I applied before um I got pregnant. When I left McGrath, I went straight to Dintil, and so I got pregnant, and it took me a good little while for them to respond to me. And after
Right.
having the child, they responded to me and said I should come and do the exam and stuff, and which I was very successful in. And
Right.
so leaving the district, I left the district um, late one night, about midnight, because I don't want nobody to know where I was going. I didn't tell anybody anything. Nobody knew where I was. My mother
Okay.
told me I'm in Kingston, you know. So when they realized where I was is when passing out time.
Right. Right. Okay.
Right. And so that's how it all began. Reaching Newcastle, training start.
So you did your test in Up Park camp,
Yes, sir.
and then you went straight to Newcastle afterwards, or did you go back home
No,
first?
it took us a little while. It was a little
Hmm.
while.
Okay. Okay. And then you arrived in Newcastle. Did you have any idea about what Newcastle was like? What was Newcastle like for you?
I didn't have no idea. All I was just going around like I was going around in a circle, a circle with fog on a truck back. And it was about three trucks. I was in the truck at the back, and I was wondering when I can reach. What is this place? And the place it was extremely cold.
Cool.
You know
Yes.
where I
What month
was
of the
going
year did you join? You said
for
August, July. What time of the year did you join?
January.
January.
That's
Oh, it's very cool then. Yes. Yeah. And
cold.
so when you got there, what happened? Tell us about getting to Newcastle now.
What I can remember getting to Newcastle after we got off the truck, and we were told um to form a line on the square, and I think they were doing some checking off and stuff like that with our bags in front of us and stuff like that.
Yes.
Still, because we went there, we went to upper camp early in the morning, and we never left until about midday.
Yes.
And going to Newcastle, we realized that we were to Newcastle maybe about, I don't remember the exact time, maybe about the 3 o'clock hours, right? And it was so long I didn't remember some of the stuff then, but all I remember the night when the bomb dropped.
And the what drop?
The bomb dropped, the bomb.
What the heck is that?
That when they call it the bomb, that's when the night when the instructors then beating up the locker and tell you move out, move out, move out. I don't know.
All right.
It was
I've never heard
traumatizing.
that term before.
Yeah, it was traumatizing when everybody has to go on the squares and training. Them said training going to start officially now. You know,
All right. Okay.
oh, it took place Sunday night prior to training, commencing of training. I don't know if they still do it, but they said the bomb drop. That's how they call it. When I thought it was hell I was going, because it was nice, and the instructor them come with stick and them beat the locker and them come out, come out, come out, come out. The time you don't even know where you're running to.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my God.
But it wasn't a nice night though.
And then so the bomb drop, and then you start the official training. So
Official
when the bomb
start.
drop, you run out of
Oh, when
out of
the
the
bombs up, it's like the noise, when the noise that they come with, because it was like you feel like you're going to sleep in a bed now and all of that and feel nice.
Oh,
You don't
right.
expect nothing and you hear this noise and you're just frightened and turn idiot, and so you were directed to go on the square. And so we went on the square, and training start.
And who was your
Most-
instructors? Who were your instructors?
Well, what I can remember, I know Colonel Lysite was one of them. But the thing is this: it was an intake that trained males on females. So
Right.
we had females, but one of the female that was with us with um at the time was Sergeant McGregor.
All
McGregor
right. Okay. Right. Yes. Yes.
was one of them. Major Thompson, the
Mm-hmm.
leader Thompson,
The leader. Right. Yeah.
right? Ex W2 Pauline Lord
Uh-huh.
was one. She was my squad lead, squad
Corporal.
she was the person, what you call it now? Instructor. She was squad 12, one of my instructors, squad 12 instructor, right? And then we have Lawson and
Mhm.
who had right. And so we have instructors, we have Campbell, now deceased.
Mhm.
May so rest in peace. That's Tanker. So you have
Mhm.
Tanker, you have Mr. Lysite. I think at one point you had a Chinta Singh that was there. And that's what I can remember.
Okay. So you start training, and how did training go?
To be honest, what I can remember, where training is concerned, where I was one of the mature one of the mature female whilst in training. So um I had some challenges. You're just coming from out of the known into the unknown. So you
Yeah.
have some challenges, and then um, physical wasn't an issue for me because come from country, and
You're accustomed to that.
you
Yes.
walk till you're weak and stuff. That
Uh-huh.
wasn't a challenge for me. Um, One of my and even though I had a child at the time, it wasn't any issue for me where I was worried about her not
Right.
knowing that not able to get any contact back home or stuff
Right.
like that. But
Mhm.
when children was concerned for me, I stood my ground and I tried to maintain what is expected of me in
Right.
training because having a child back at home, you don't want to be in training and then make the grade. You have to go home
So you put
and
everything into it. Right. Yeah.
give it my best a shot.
Give it your
I
best. Right. Yeah.
talk to persons and I comply and do
Mm-hmm.
what of me as a recruit at the time.
And you passed out.
And I
What?
passed out.
Right. Did you win any of the big prizes or anything like that?
No, sir.
Right.
No,
Okay.
no.
Right. Yeah.
You were
Okay.
ahead of me.
Well, we can't all win something. So you get
Yeah.
to you leave Newcastle. Did you march down to a park camp like everybody else, or go down through the August town?
All right. I didn't prior to me leaving Newcastle. Where was it? No, we ran down. I was
Random. Okay.
actually I was the females were in front,
Mm-hmm.
and I was one of three females that were in front,
Right.
running down from Newcastle, and it was a very proud and passionate
I can
moment
imagine. I
for
can.
me.
I can just imagine. Yes.
Have and words to express
Mm-hmm.
how I felt that morning, especially passing in the Papine region when they said females up front. And
Yes. Yes.
you're running out when you're dying, you're running with your
Yes.
weapon on your back, and you have on your thing and your helmet.
Yes.
It was just,
Oh, and everybody's looking at you. I can just imagine.
I tell
Proud.
you, and
Proud. Proud. Yes.
God be the glory, I mean, the persons who motivated us,
Mm.
they are still alive.
Right. Right. So back up one little bit there. Passing out, did everybody come from Mountain Pass to your passing out?
Well, we got a bus load,
A
sir.
bus.
A bus
And
load. My
that was
father
the
was
first,
here.
and that
My
was the
sister,
first time they were coming up to Newcastle.
correct, sir.
Oh
Correct.
my God,
My
yes.
daughter.
Wow, 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 wow. I can just imagine that. All right, so you pass out, you've gone to Up Park Camp now. So tell us about your life in Up Park Camp, where you went to, where you served, and what were some of the highlights?
All right. My life, when I passed out from Newcastle, I passed out from Newcastle with bittersweet feelings, even though I told you that it was a
Yes.
pretty good, nice feeling coming running down.
That is
But
about April 94 then.
June,
June. Okay.
July, I think. Yeah, they're
Okay.
about coming down from Newcastle. It was a bittersweet feelings, and it was one in which I have things on my mind in terms of, because the whole issue started about coming down with that on my brain with my daughter, and sorry, with my daughter and other issues that I faced while serving in Newcastle. I had some challenges, and so, being in Upper Camp with those things on my head, worried about and all of that. At one point I thought that I want to go home. I said it to myself.
I can imagine, yes. Yeah.
I stood my ground with persons who surround me with positivity,
Right.
and I stood my ground.
Right. So other female soldiers would sort of support you when you were having those doubtful moments.
I tell you, it's not really female soldiers,
Right.
It wasn't really female soldier. It was more of a family.
Right. Okay. So everybody
I
mucked
was
in and helped.
actually going through some stuff that took
Mhm.
place while I was in training, and I couldn't take it to any female because they were not so mature to handle it.
Right.
So I would be like one or two senior persons who were like my instructor or close knitted to the family,
Right.
And so being in Upper Camp, it took me approximately 2 to 3 years after I passed out to really settle and feel a sense of relief.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so where were you posted to? Which unit were you posted to?
Well, first I was posted to administrative unit. That's a signal platoon,
Right.
and after being at the signal platoon, then I went to support and services battalion after doing my clerical course, and then I went back to AU signal. After that, I went to Newcastle, where I spent about 2+ years. After leaving Newcastle, I went back to AU signals, then military record section. Leaving military record section, went to HUJDF. When I left HUJDF, I went to the regiment where I spent roughly 7 years between 1 GR and 2 GR.
Right. And what did you do in the regiment?
Pardon me, I was attached to the regimental incel.
Okay.
And after leaving the regiment, I went straight onto the military intelligence unit.
All right. So your last posting was military intelligence unit.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So you saw quite a bit of the JDF, and you served not just in SSB and 1GR, but you also served in the unit. Which was your favorite? What was your favorite place to work?
In terms of?
In terms of what you got, the experiences that you had, the people that you met, the
Within
things
the
that you
JDF?
did. Which one of these places did you enjoy the most?
To be honest, I would say military intelligence unit and military military record section. Those are the two places.
Why was that? Any special reason?
Basically, military record section is where all documents are kept for the soldiers, and
But
so
most people would say that's probably boring.
you're privy to
All right. Yes.
information. There's no secret, so to speak, where the JDF is concerned, because everything published. So one of the things that I always love to do is like working on updating the soldiers' record of service file. you know,
Okay,
things are
right.
stuff like that. So it
Right.
extract from the orders
Yes.
and you put it on their documents and stuff like that.
Right.
And that was the thing. And with MIU, you know, it's something that I love. I mean, I hate to disclose, but I love MIU.
Is that so? Okay. All right. And how many years you spent there? The last couple of years?
Roughly about 15.
Oh, all right. That's right. So the other 5 or 6 places that you went to, there were 2 or 3 years, and then this was the last 15 years of service.
I spent 7 years. 7 years
Regiment.
regiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years at Newcastle, military records. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And in all, you spent what? You spent 30 years in a JDF, 29, 30 years?
29.
Right. All right. Now, in all the time that you were in the JDF, in all these places that you were, what is the funniest thing you ever saw while you were in the JDF?
Funniest things.
Yes. You know, the JDF has a lot of funny things that make you laugh. Every soldiers are always laughing.
Okay. One of the funniest things that I've ever seen in my whole entire army career, was when I saw a particular officer salute with his left hand and nothing wrong with his right hand, right on the SSB square. And I laughed. Chris, why I laugh? Because he was looking in his and he was wondering, I wish on him what he just did.
He recognized it and then he sort of.
He was wondering what he just did. I think because he saw a particular officer and he get sort of confused.
All right.
And he used his left hand to salute, and the officer said to him, come here, young man. And the officer said to him, what you just did? And he was like,
normal. All right. All right. That's yeah. I don't think, well, I suppose that's why they say the army is like that. You have these things which happen unexpectedly. All right, so that's the funny side of it. So what was the saddest thing or the thing that you didn't enjoy at all? What was that? I know you went to see those orders and you didn't enjoy that, but what incident that didn't involve you that was sad or not so happy?
What incident that
you didn't enjoy?
That I wasn't a part of?
So you weren't involved in it. That was very sad for you.
Oh. When I remember being in the regiment. Persons, you know, I was told of persons who they're sending home.
Okay.
Because of reasons. And it was so sad for me because the person was my friend.
Right.
Was sick of a mild psychosis. It was heartrending to see the condition. And know that the person, they will be sending home the person and I couldn't do anything about it.
So it was on a medical discharge?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Next hard question then. What was the thing that you learned most in the JDF? What did you learn most?
Or one of the things that I've learned most in the JDF is that discipline must be maintained to the highest level.
Why is that the most important thing that you learned?
Why is that the most important? Because it will take you anywhere you want to go.
Okay, I'm assuming that since you've left the JDF, that has helped you as well.
Exactly, sir.
But you have good discipline. Discipline must be maintained. Well, I don't disagree with you, But I wasn't expecting that as a thing that other people will say other things that they learned. Discipline must be maintained. Yes, because that's how the JDF stays together. That's
You
that's
can be
that's it.
honest, you can be honest and you're not disciplined.
Yes,
But once
yes,
you're
yes.
disciplined,
Discipline. Yes, it takes
honest.
you a long way. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So you've spent 29 years in the JDF. You've seen lots of parades, seen lots of events, seen lots of, and I would imagine that you went out on a number of operations, whether in the corporate area or did you go overseas at all?
No, sir, I
Didn't
didn't.
go overseas. All
I just
right.
went to Haiti. I went to Haiti on two occasions. I went to Haiti, I think, on two occasions.
All right. How long did you spend there and what did you do?
Roughly, in fact, as a signaler, I remember we went there at sleeping few days when
Okay.
I think when the soldiers were in Haiti,
Hmm.
we went to Lacoy,
Hmm.
Germany,
Right.
yeah, Lacoy and Germany, and I think there was another Port-au-Prince.
All right. Okay. All right. And you went there
I
twice,
just
you
went
said.
there to
Uh-huh.
support.
Right. Okay. And like when you're deploying out of your own country to go to another country, how did that feel? What was that like for you?
It was exciting for me, when I was going to Haiti.
Right.
And what even make it more so excited, on my way to Coast Guard
Uh,
to go to Haiti on the boat,
uh,
I realized that I left my money at home.
oh
A
dear.
little US to carry with me. I
Yes.
left it at home. And when I told someone about it from Coast Guard, they took me on one of the little, how we call it, dinghy, the little boat
Yes.
there, the little one,
Yes. Yes.
and they took to Portsmore, near this bridge.
Uh-huh.
I think back road there, so near to this bridge where my sister came with the money, and she met me there, and I collected the money, and I
Ah,
went
me.
back. Oscar.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, you want little trip, your first little trip going, and you forget your money. I said, "Oh my God."
And that must have made you feel special because at least they made an effort to help you out. And wow.
Exactly,
And I can
exactly. And
imagine
this
your
last
sister as
little
well.
party,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
She must
spent
have
few
been she
days.
must have been impressed.
Glad for a
Yes.
little sister man going to Haiti.
Yes. Fabulous, fabulous. All right. So Haiti, up all those, so that's your time overseas. What medals do you have from the JDF? Wouldn't you have long service and good conduct? Any other medals?
Right, and also I think I got Queen Jubilee medal as well, so I got three medals.
Right.
So the
Do,
two.
do, do you wear them now?
No, sir, I've never worn
Right.
it before.
All right. I wear mine everywhere I'm going. Everywhere I'm going, I put on my medals. Do you know when I was a young boy growing up, the first time I sort of had a recollection of a soldier, there was an old gentleman in my district, which is in St. Elizabeth in Malvern. And every day, well, not every day, at least once a week, he would go to the post office. But when he was going to the post office, he would put on his suit and he'd put on his medals. And that's the first time I ever saw medals. And he would
Okay.
go out, and he had fought in World War II. So he wasn't a sort of, he was WIR. And so that's the first time I knew about soldiers and the army and stuff like that. So sometimes when I put it on, I said, okay, I'm now behaving just like Mr. H.L. Foster, put on his uniform to go to the post office. But I wear mine to church and to big events and stuff.
Oh,
And people are always asking me about it and so forth. So, but that's me. All right. So you've left the JDF now. How long ago you left? When did you leave?
approximately 2 years.
All right. So what have you been doing with yourself?
Um, basically, I am still in law enforcement.
Still in law enforcement. Okay. And enjoying it?
Absolutely so. Very much.
And I'm assuming that your time in the JDF contributed to you being able to continue in that role or in that part of that way of working because of your previous JDF experience. That That must have
Absolutely.
been a big part. And do
Absolutely.
you get to travel in this job, or do you sort of just go from office to home?
Basically from office to home, or
Hmm.
as I explained to you earlier, sometimes have to go on the road
To go on
and
the
stuff
road.
like
Okay. All right.
that.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah, basically that. But
I,
I'm
I
enjoying it.
know, right. And now that you are a civilian again, I would imagine that it probably wasn't difficult for you because you were in MIU for a long time. So you were wearing civilian clothes for the last part of your service.
Oh yes, oh yes. Because I was on secondment whilst being at MIU.
MIU. All
I was
right.
actually the liaison officer for MIU and the JCF. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
actually
Hmm.
semi-civil military.
Right.
So
Right. So you don't actually have any you didn't find it hard adjusting to being back in civilian clothes. I know some people struggle with that. You didn't have any struggle with
not
that.
at, not at all, sir.
All right. Let me ask you a little bit about your personal life. Do you have do you have any other children apart from your first daughter?
Yes, sir. I
All
have
right.
two boys.
Two boys,
One,
and are they much younger, much more younger, or are they much younger or
yes, yes,
close? Much younger.
yes. One is 26 and one is 17.
All right. Okay. All right. So still in school.
Yes, sir.
Fabulous. All right. All right. So I've asked you the sort of key things about your early life, your time in the JDF, and we've talked a little bit about your time out of the JDF. What would you say to people about the JDF? If I were to ask you, what do you think about the JDF and its role in Jamaica? What would you say?
If you should what, please repeat that, sir.
If I were to ask you about what do you think about the JDF and its role in Jamaica, what would you say?
All right. Basically, the Jamaica Defence Force are not over, right?
Mhm,
Um, it is responsible for the defense of Jamaica,
mhm,
and it play a crucial role in maintaining national security,
mhm,
participating in the international peacekeeping mission, and
mhm,
provide humanitarian assistance.
mhm,
Now, what I think about the JDF, there are so many things that came to my mind, but what I think about the JDF now in
mhm,
compared to my time. All right. On the positive side of it, you know, um, you have a lot of persons coming into the JDF now with their degrees.
mhm,
Back in my time, there wasn't much persons. And now,
mhm,
as I said, on the positive side, more opportunities now to go to school than in my time.
mhm.
Right.
Yes, that's true.
Uh, the pay is better now.
Mhm.
Also, more benefit. If you find out, you realize that more soldiers now are owning their houses
Yeah.
than and assets now than before.
Mhm.
As it relates to even promotion is now moving from other ranks to officer is much better.
Right. Yes, I've heard of that. Yes. Yes.
Right. Um, that is some of the positive things that I
Mhm.
looked at.
Mhm.
I don't know if you'd say negative, but some of the things that I really think about the JDF is now really where social media is concerned, where you
Right.
have too many soldiers are on TikTok doing all sorts of things now,
Mhm.
specifically in their uniform.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know
Yeah.
if permission has been granted for them to do these things or not, but I think TikTok, they can go on TikTok, but come out of the uniform, man. Too
Copyright.
many
Okay.
things they make, people see, people know, you know.
Mhm.
That is one
Mhm.
of the things that
Right.
I think of the JDF. And the next thing that the JDF is becoming a young army now,
Right. Yeah.
with no seniors to mentor the younger ones. Because if the JDF is sending home the older and not the older, the more experienced people going home now, who is going to be there to really guide the younger
Right.
ones? And I
Right.
personally think another thing that I think of the JDF, I think they should put a pause, if it's possible, on taking in a JNSC and start train as per regular, the 6 months. Train the soldiers them like when it was our time.
Right. Right.
The vetting
I was,
process.
yeah, I was going to ask you about the what is it, JNRC, JNSC?
The JNSC,
Right. Do you think it's a good thing for Jamaica and for the JDF, or why do you say put a pause on it?
because what I realized, most of some of the things I may not able to say based on my
Yes, that's all
understanding,
right.
and
Yeah.
it's just some of these they don't really want to be a soldier to serve their
Right.
country. They just
Right.
want a job.
Which is two different
Mark,
things.
you
Yes.
have,
Okay.
right, you have innocent ones who wants to become a soldier for the
Mhm.
longest time, and the opportunity just
Mhm.
present itself.
Okay.
So what happened? I personally think um why I say put a pause on it. Back in our time, you realize we soldiers were training real rough and rugged. We
Right.
train, we need to work, and we want to serve our country and serve it to the best of our ability. But
Right.
now you train the soldiers, you train those persons. The first thing, them just want come out of them district.
Okay. Right. Escape. Right.
When you talk to some of them, they spend maybe like 6 months after training or a few months after they finish pass out from Newcastle, they want to go home. It's not what they had expected.
I see what you mean. Right. 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 Okay. It's not a calling. Yes. Okay. 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 Okay.
And the
It's
next thing that I was thinking of, the vetting process, I think the
all right.
vetting process need to be more rigid, such as if it's possible, because I know some of these things it may not be possible, but if it's possible for them to do polygraph.
Right. Okay. Mhm.
Polygraph in the sense that before, once they've been selected to go into training, they would do
Mm.
polygraph. And once they do the polygraph, they start weed out from early, so they don't reach a Newcastle. Because when they reach in Newcastle, wherever they train, after
Mhm.
4, 3 to after they pass out, you only realize that that's one didn't make it.
That, all right.
When
Okay.
resources,
All right. Right.
time,
Right.
and
Right. Okay.
and
So
the
that's
final thing, oh sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, go ahead. You go ahead.
The final thing that I realized, there's not much mother figure to guide the female within the JDF right now.
Right. Why is that important? What is going on with the young woman that so you would have been in a place where you're a sort of mother figure. What is stopping those more experienced women from being mother figures?
Because some of those you realize that most of them like age catching up on some persons, and they leave in the system because um some persons, maybe they're not able to, like, BFST becomes an issue
Mhm.
and other myriads of issues. So you find out that those females that are experienced fading out. It's time,
Right.
the time
So
period is
is there something about the young women joining now? Is it something about where they're coming from or their experience in life that they need that extra attention compared to when you join?
absolutely, sir.
Right.
Absolutely.
The
Because
society has changed, yeah? Yeah, go on.
remember you have put it this way, you have some of us as female, we were groomed properly. Our parents maybe hold a set of women
Mhm.
and we were brought up properly. Now you have
Mm.
younger mothers having children at a younger age,
Right.
and the risk, you don't even know if a mother or daughter or a true sister. And
Right.
talking to daughter like, is our son, what bro, what? It's just because if you listen to some of these females right now,
Mm-hmm.
they address them other female parties or female associate as bro. What is that? Bro. What?
Yes.
And
Yes,
it's
right.
it's
Yes, yes, I get you. I get you. Right. All right. But overall, how do you still believe that the JDF is a positive force for good in Jamaica, though?
yes, it is.
Right.
It is. It's just need to reinforce the
Mm-hmm.
standard, the rules, the discipline, and the regulation. It
Right.
just need a strong backbones. So the
Yes.
leaders of the JDF, they need support, the supporting systems in a sense that firm and fair.
Right. Okay. Fabulous. I can see you're very passionate about how you feel about the JDF and what it needs. And I'm sure that there are people who are listening who will sort of be able to when this broadcast goes out, there are people who listen to it and they will sort of look at what you have said. And you never can tell, somebody might get in touch with you to talk about it some more. You never know how these things work. My last question to you, Sarge. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you?
All right. I'm going to say this, and yes, and the reason why I'm going to say it is because I remember two things. I remember when I joined the JDF when I was in training,
Mhm.
and I was in Newcastle and I took sick in Newcastle because of my knees. I had some knee issue,
Mhm.
and I was told to report sick.
Mhm.
And so I reported sick, and I reported sick. I went on the sick bay the Monday and Tuesday, um, mid morning,
Mhm.
maybe about not about mid morning, no, maybe about 11 o'clock, 11:30. About I
Mhm.
was told that I should go down to room 5.
Mhm.
I don't know where room 5 was, but I got directed to room 5. And
Right.
I was told that I would like a female called me, the female medics
Right.
I'm go down to room 5 to see her. When
Mhm.
I went to room 5 to see the female medic, she wasn't there. I
Mhm.
was told that the female said I should wait on her. So the door was open. I was told to go inside. I went there and I sat down in room 5. When I was there, the door opened. The door opened. There was a male came there with a stethoscope around his neck, and he had something in his hand like a slide.
Mhm.
And he said that the doctor said he should run a test on me. I said, what kind of test is that? He said, HBS, Hotel Victor Syria. That's HVS.
Mhm.
I said to him, what that entails. He said to me that the doctor wants to test to see if I have any foot disease.
Mhm.
And he ordered me to take off my clothes. So at the time I had on the steel shorts, the blue shorts, and I had on
Right.
a brown vest. And I took off the I took off the brown vest. And I said to myself, if it's foot disease, sir, if it's I was saying to the medic, sir, if it was foot disease, why should I take off my clothes? And he said to me that the doctor say he want to test. So he told me to take off the shorts and bend over. I said, no, 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 you must be crazy. I said, where is the female medic? And I called the female medic by name. And he held me down in there and we tussled. We tussled it out. And he took my vest and he threw it on top of the locker. And we fought down there.
So what
And
did, yeah, go on, go on.
he ripped my brassiere strap. And I said to him, this is not the end of it. And he walked out of the room. He pulled the door. And while he was going outside, there was another medic coming in, like it was a plan. And the medic said to him, everything all right? And he said, no. And I took my, and I climb up, there was a bed there, because he was pushing me down on the bed. And I took up my blouse and I put it on, and I walked out of the room. And I said, this is not going to be ended like this. This is not the end of it. And so, after that, sir, I didn't say anything to anybody. I went on the sick bay, because this is not where my luggage were. And I went on the sick bay, and I put on my uniform, I put on my bush shirt, and I took up my bag. And I walked straight through the gate, the medical complex gate. I walked through there and I walked straight through. I'd head straight to PU guard room. Where that was a Tuesday afternoon. I know that truck normally go up to Newcastle with ration. And I catch the ration truck. And when I went to Newcastle, I saw my platoon sergeant at the time, and he said to me, recruit Dalhouse. Here, so you have sent off the sick bay. And I said, sir, yes, sir. And I said to him, I would like to speak with you, sir. And he said, come. And I explained to him. And he said, you're mad. He said, you're mad. Not like that. And so he reported it to the DSM at the time. And then the DSM reported it to the detachment commander. And that's where it all began. And why I reported it, because I heard that incident like that took place before, and it wasn't reported or anything, but because I was not in for it, and I stood my ground, and I look at it this way and said, listen, we as female, we have gone through some things that people will never understand.
Yes.
And,
not okay at all, yeah.
Fault, but I am not one of those female who are going to see the wrong and call it right. Yes. I stood my ground and I maintain my dignity and I maintain my sanity, because guess what? Someone has to give an account at some appointed time for what they have done.
So did they eventually give account for what they have done?
The person was sent home.
Right. Wow, that is not a nice, that is not something that you want to go through at all. I'm really sorry to hear that. But you're stronger for it, and you came out on the right side of that experience. But there are other people who might have gone through that and just kept it to themselves.
And that is the reason why I don't know where this broadcast may go or far it may go, but I'm saying to any one of the females in the JDF right now, if it reach to the point where things like this are happening to them, report it. Report it. Let them say you're informer. Let them call you all the names, because 3, 4, 5 years after, you would say to yourself, you're glad it was reported. Even if they don't do anything about it, but you report it and you stood your ground. So
it's not okay for that type of behavior at all. It's just not okay at all. So good for you, but it's really distressing to hear what you went through. And you said there was one. You said there was a second thing that you wanted to talk about.
The second thing that took place, Major, I was coming from church one night, and I was held up by a gunman, and I was raped. And you know,
While you were a soldier? Yeah.
yes, sir,
Right.
while serving in the JDF, and you know, a lot of persons don't know
You
anything
went back
about.
home. That's back in St. Catherine or in Kingston?
I was in Kingston. I was
In
in Kingston.
Kingston. Right.
Right, right, right. And so, I look at it and say I could have died, but then, some persons are not so sensitive in terms of the traumatizing, and, persons who who knew about the situation, asking me, what was it like? And I have to explain. At the time, it was
Look like.
in the delicate stage of it, and traumatizing and all of that, and,
Yeah.
persons were asking, person, especially females who were in the barrack room and know about the situation. And
What was
I
it
could
like?
not, what was it like? I couldn't fathom somebody would came out and ask me a question like that after being traumatized. Not even 3 weeks.
Pardon.
Not
Sometimes
even.
we don't think. We don't think. You might be curious about something, but why would you? What do you mean? What was it like?
What was it like?
Yeah. Right.
Because of that, I became fearful. I don't want to be nowhere where darkness is, and
Right.
people would not understand. I I I was sent home on some leave, and while I was home, I moved from where I was living at the time and went to somewhere else to live. And at the time where I went to live, coming when I was home one night, and I heard. I wasn't alone at home the night though, but I was alone in my room. And I
Mm,
heard at night like somebody pulling the door from the
mm,
back end. So I called the lady at the front, and I say to her, somebody seemed like they want to come into the house. But when she came into my room, because actually I hear her stepping outside under the window. And when she came inside the room and she cracked the window, there was this man trying to prime the door to come in.
mm.
And she m- make some noise to him, and he ran. And the following day, I went out along. I went out with the lady. Um, we went on the road because she realized that I don't want to travel alone. She went on the road. When we came back home, we realized that the window, if you know Portmore windows are, the metal window, they're squeezing. So like the
Right.
person was trying to get into the room, and they squeezing the windows, and so traumatized again, you know. So there were myriad of things that were happening in my circle, and I was questioning God, and I was saying, God, what is this? But
Yes.
I maintain my composure,
Right.
because the incident, I tell myself that I need to get over that, you know,
Yes.
and stuff like that. But
So
I maintain
did
my
they ever
stand.
did they ever find the rapist from the first incident? Or
Right? What happened, sir, is that I I was supposed to go on a Heidi parade to
mm,
identify the individual. And
right.
so I remember SSB had a men's women dinner
Yes.
that day when I was supposed to go on ID parade. And so when I went, I was told that the police did not show up for
Mhm.
the ID who I was dealing with the case. And the case was just long and drawn out. And then one of the policemen who was dealing with the case, he wanted a relationship with me. And because I didn't give in to him, he dropped the case, because he was like, every time I call you, you have church going, or you're going to school, or you're at home, you're not going, you can't come out with me. And I said, sir, this is not what I'm up for. you're working on a case for me, and this is what you're throwing in my face. Put your daughter in my space. You'd want it for anybody. And he said, listen to me, this is it. I'm not going to even continue this case. And that's where it dies. There wasn't any support where the JDF was concerned, where that was concerned, because after reporting it to the JDF, I mean, somebody drug foot and it just died out like that. And I had to live with it. And so I saw the young man about a year after. When um, I saw him at a store, at a hardware store. And so when I saw him at the hardware store, I stopped my vehicle and I parked my vehicle and I went back into the because he was on a bicycle. And I watched him to see where he was going. And he went inside the store. And I went inside the store and I realized that it was him. And he was looking on some fans in the store, and I was there looking on the fan. I said to him, these fans are good fans, sir. And he said, yeah, man, I'm looking for one for my baby mother. And because I want to see if it's really him on the voice, and I realized it was him. And I went back outside, I went into my car and I called 119. And I called 119 and I explained to the police, female police. She said to me, so long and you still a report that the case there? And I said, oh my God. I said, miss, you really say that? But I didn't get her P number because when you call 119, you hear P14, P13 or something. So, and that was it. And I said, God, leave it alone.
Yes, yes. Wow. Jamaica still has a little way to go. Well, I don't know if it's just Jamaica, but as human beings, we still have a way to go. Sorry to hear about your experiences,
That's
but
experience, teacher, wisdom. I've gotten over it, and I always tell myself that because there are a lot of females out there who have been raped and they can't speak how they have it hush hush because they don't know who to trust. And
right,
how I got over this is because when I was doing prison duties at Fort Augustus, I remember sharing my story with the prisoners, but I don't speak to them like if it is me. I
right,
speak like it's a third party and stuff
right.
because coming from town into a taxi one day, I heard that a female soldier was raped on Bellevue compound and she died. And I said, yeah, she died for true. Me know her is my sister friend, good, 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 good friend. She
That's
died,
right. Yes, right.
you know, because I want to hear more. So,
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm here today because God kept me. I've got
Yes, absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you so much for telling me your story. Actually, you're the first female that I've interviewed. There were interviews before which I didn't do, but you're the first female that I've interviewed. So please, thank you so much for taking time to tell me your story. It's a really interesting story from where you started in Mountain Pass, where you ended up in the JDF. And then the last two pieces that you told me, they certainly, I wasn't expecting to hear those stories, but it sort of tells me something about where women in Jamaica still have to, the challenges that they still face.
yes, sir.
And so keep doing what you do, keep contributing, keep working for the good of the people of Jamaica, and keep working to help other women to lift themselves up. Thank you so much, and say thanks to your mother and your family for allowing you to be here to talk with us today. And thank you to for your service to the JDF. It's been a pleasure talking to you, although there were sad parts of it. What will happen now is that I will download this tape and I'll send it to Mr. JDF, and then he will contact you to say when it's going to be aired. I don't know exactly when he will air it, but what will happen is that once he has put it on, it will last about an hour. I think it's about an hour and 20 minutes or so. And then after that, I'm going to ask you, or he'll ask you to be ready to take questions from people who have listened to it. And then they might ask you something about what you've said or something that you have not said. And then that will be it. So thank
Thank
you very much, Don. Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and all the best as you continue to serve Jamaica. And to keep us safe as we travel around. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me. God bless you.